What's going on, YouTube fam? My name is Little Lifter Lifts, and this is my second video, so quality and everything else should be better, but clearly it wasn't good because my last video did atrocious. So today we're going to be doing good, and today we're going to be reviewing the best diets for fat loss and ranking them on a scale from S, highest tier, to F at the bottom. I've been on a weight loss journey twice. You know, bodybuilding, you have to cut, and I've gone through 2 cuts, and I know a lot about it. I take anatomy, I take nutrition classes, and do my outside research, so I'm a pretty trustworthy guy, and I've gone through the process, so let me take you through a few diets and rank them. For the first diet we'll be reviewing is the most common in people trying to lose weight, which is the Mediterranean. Very common because of the just overall food that you're consuming. People typically connect the Greek and Turkish and Italian food to healthy, whole grain, low fat, low carb food, which it is. It is typically low carb, although it does include whole grain foods. So the Mediterranean diet, stemming from obviously anything touching the Mediterranean. It includes red meat, fish, lentils, olive oil, whole nuts, whole grains, and just things on top of that nature. Although it's helpful and really good at its job, you're lacking one very specific thing: dairy products. Things like calcium and, sometimes proteins. You're going to be lacking that. Calcium is very important because on top of the sliding filament theory, which is basically when your muscles contract and your muscles require calcium and sodium, but calcium is a part of sliding filament theory, which in turn decreases muscle contraction, therefore decreasing muscle hypertrophy. So if you're on a bodybuilding standpoint, that's not good at all. So that obviously bumps it down, and it will land at, let's say, a B plus, because it's very common, it's very easy to shop for, but the lack in calcium kind of bumps it down. It also has a lack in vitamin D, but that's not as important as calcium, so it gets bumped down to a B plus. Next is the world renowned, everyone knows it, the keto or ketogenic diet. If you don't know or are unaware or have forgotten, the keto diet consists of low to no carb and high fat as your diet. While you're on the keto diet, your goal is to hit ketosis, where your body metabolizes fat for fuel rather than carbs, which is why the diet has little to no carbs, so it doesn't use that for fuel to fuel your body. Although it does work at the start, most of it is water weight. For water to be absorbed in your body, you need carbohydrates, and it inserts your muscles. But when you don't have any carbs, you don't really absorb the water, so your water just basically flushed out of you, which is why you'll see an immediate weight drop. That is mostly water, though. Downside with the keto diet: not prioritizing protein. You can include high protein, which is what you should do, but through the keto diet, pretty much just high fat foods. So that takes it down quite a few notches, but it's also just unsustainable. Having a diet with low carbs is very unsustainable. It really is. So with that in mind, it is not a bad diet. It definitely works for short term. Very hard to do for the long term. Another kind of spin on the keto diet is an animal diet or a primal diet. You'll see famous influencers like the Liver King using this. And that is also a high protein, high fat version of it, which works but very unsustainable. With that in mind, the keto diet gets a the typical keto diet gets a B minus because you are not prioritizing protein. You're basically just prioritizing not getting carbs in. So an animal-based diet, however, can get it, an animal-based keto diet, however, can make it I'll say an A minus because it's basically a keto diet, but it prioritizes protein. And carbs are not essential by that means, but they're very helpful and are a very good pre-workout substance to fuel your body. And for me, is a necessity, even when I'm dieting. Finally, for the most common diet that you always think of when you hear someone dieting, bodybuilding or not, it's the joke of a vegetarian diet. I know. Relax. I know there's religious things that your religion doesn't allow you to eat meat or red meat, but my God, is it atrocious. It really is. I understand if it's a religious one, but if you're not a really religious one, I mean, like, animal products is animal products, you know? Like, you're meant to eat it. You really are. So, through the vegetarian diet, very little protein. Almost none, unless you're eating tofu or beans, I guess. But, I mean, it's just really unsustainable. And especially if you're hopping on it after being carnivore, sorry, it's going to be atrocious. It really will be. I do not personally recommend it. It works with some people. You will lose muscle. I'm telling you that now. You will. It's really not good. Because you can still be in a surplus while doing it. That's what I don't understand. Like, especially, I mean, like, all of these, you could be in a surplus and you wouldn't know it. But especially, that's sad with the vegetarian diet. You could be in a surplus and gain weight, even when you're on a vegetarian diet. That for me doesn't cut it. You're also missing a lot of just many micronutrients that you can get from red meat, which is just not there through a vegetarian diet. You're also lacking just a bunch of vitamins, minerals, and just all of your micronutrients, to be honest. For that, I'm giving this like a D plus. It's really bad. I do not support it, really. Especially if you're a bodybuilder, please do not do this unless your religion requires you to, of course. So those are the 3 most common dieting diets that you hear of, but I have the best solution. Just being in a calorie deficit, really. And it also, you know what also helps? A high amount of protein. So it's a win-win for bodybuilders or non-bodybuilders. Both help. Because obviously, bodybuilder, you need your protein to undergo protein synthesis, muscle hypertrophy. So obviously, that's nice. But protein also makes you feel satiated and makes you feel fuller for longer periods of time. So just being in a calorie deficit with a high amount of protein is just overall a good thing. You can fill the rest with fats, which helps regulate your hormones, and carbs to fuel your body, of course. But just being in a deficit is always going to be helpful because that's how you lose weight. And in order to know when you're in a deficit, just look up calorie calculator, put in all your information that you see. And it's going to be height, weight, activity level, stuff like that. And you just put it in, and it'll give you how many calories you need to surplus or be in a deficit by, which is where you get calorie deficit, which is what I support, which deserves A+. That's going to conclude the video for today. If you did like the video, please like and subscribe and share it. But I'm a small content creator, Little Lifter Lifts, just trying to go viral, trying to get big. So just anything helps. So Little lifters out. Oh god.